channel. So this is the first episode of our beginner friendly series. So this series will have 3 episodes. So the first episode I'll be focusing on the eyebrow portion of the video, or the eyebrow portion of the makeup. And the second video I'll be focusing on the eyeshadow and eyeliner portion of the video. And the third episode I'll be focusing on the face portion of the video. So I didn't want to make one long video talking about all those things, because I know that video that gets really long. So I decided to chop it up into episodes or different portions. So today's video will be about the eyebrow tutorial. So if you guys see me in the same outfit in all three videos, then you'll know why, because I'm just filming one video today. So I hope you guys enjoy this type of video, or this little idea that I came up with. And yeah, I already filmed the eyebrow tutorial on my channel, but you guys wanted the updated eyebrow tutorial, so yeah, that's what this one will be about. And I hope you enjoyed this video. So yeah, I'll be zooming into the eyebrows now. So firstly, I want you guys to ensure that your brows are well groomed. So whether you shave it, thread it, wax it, whatever it is that you do, just ensure that you have your brows in nice shape or well groomed. I normally just shave my brows. Next, you're gonna need a spoolie, and you're just gonna use it to brush your brows in the same direction that they grow. You're gonna need a angled brush. I'm just using this one from LA Girl. It came in a brush set, and I'm going with my LA Girl brow pomade in the shade dark brown. I used this same pomade in my previous video. So if you prefer using a pencil or another brand brow pomade, you can go ahead and grab that. Now I'm dipping the brush into the pomade, and I'm gonna start off in the center of my brows, not at the inner part or the outer end of my brows. I'm starting from the center, and I'm going to just follow the shape of my brows, and I'm using a very light hand to do this. And you're just gonna follow the shape of your brows, and you can even extend it, like what you're gonna see me do now. Now, if you don't have naturally thick brows, here's a little tip that you guys can follow. Now, for the inner part of your brows, it should not pass right there. So right at where the side of your nose is, that's exactly where you're gonna put your brush, and it should not pass there. And for the outer end of your brows, it should not pass that point, and your arch should not pass that point. So I'm just gonna do that again so you guys can see what I'm doing. So you can even use a pencil to make like 3 dots to know what you're working with. So that's the inner part of your brows, that's where the arch should be, and that's where your brow should end. So you can just make 3 small dots and just use that to outline your brows. So now what I'm gonna do here is bring the excess product that is left on the brush, and I'm just gonna bring that to the inner portion of my brows. Now, when you're doing your brows, as I said earlier, just ensure that you're using a very light hand and you're not being too harsh when you're doing this. Or even when you're doing your eyeshadow or your face, you don't have to be harsh on yourself. You can just use a very light hand and it will do the trick. Now I'm just gonna do the same thing at the top of my brows. I'm gonna follow same steps. Start from the middle and just follow the same shape of your brows. If you don't have naturally thick brows, you're just gonna follow those dots. You can even put them up top so you can just follow the shape just the same way. And you're just gonna meet that line that you made at the bottom of your brows. So the line up top should meet the line at the bottom, and then you're just gonna use that and drag it outwards. And you can always go back with the trick that I showed you earlier, where your brows should stop, just to ensure that you're not going past that line. And now I'm just filling in the middle of my brows. So you made a line at the bottom first, then a line at the top, and then you're just gonna fill it in. So see, I did it right there just to ensure that I'm not extending that line. And now for the front of my brows, I'm just gonna go back with my spoolie, and I'm gonna start from the middle, and I'm gonna use that product and brush it into the front portion of my brows. So I didn't use any brow product at the front of my brows. I just used the product that is already in the brows and just brush it at the front. I went in with a smaller spoolie because I realized that that would be much better or much easier, more precise to use. Now, nothing is wrong if you go back with your brush and fill in your brows. If you feel like you needed more product, you can always go back with your angled brush and your pomade and just fill in all these sparse areas. And to conceal my brows, I'm going to use my Milani Conceal Plus Perfect Concealer in the shade 150. And I'm gonna get my concealer brush. To do so, I actually changed the brush later on in my video, but that's the brush that I started using. It was doing the job okay, but as it got older, as the brush, because it's a very old brush, and I realized that it got a little bit messed up. So I went back with a smaller brush that actually did the job better, and it was more precise, but I kept this clip so you guys could see what I was doing. So I'm just following exactly what I did earlier, following the shape of my brows, and I'm using a very light hand. And when you're doing this as well, guys, ensure that you're not using a lot of product. A small amount goes a long way, especially with this type of concealer. If you'd use a regular LA Girl concealer that most persons would use, that concealer is way too watery, so it will get real messy real quick, especially when you're doing your brows. So it's best to get a very thick concealer when you're doing so. And as you can see, I started from the middle, dragging it out to the end of my brows. Now for the front of my brows, I'm gonna drag it towards the front. Sometimes it's a bit difficult to explain, but once you see what I'm doing, you'll get it and understand it much better.
Juki got the sauce, bitch.
If you see where you need more work to be done, you just go back with more concealer, like what I'm doing now. I realize that it could be a bit sharper or more defined or have a better shape, so I just went back with more concealer and I just fixed it. I'm gonna go in with that brush and I'm just gonna use it to blend the concealer. And by blending, I'm gonna press it into my skin until it blends right. So you're just gonna press and kind of drag at the same time. And when you raise your brows when you're doing this, you get more space to work with. So just raise your eyebrows and blend. Now, earlier on in the video, I said I went in with another brush, a much smaller brush. No, that's the one I was talking about. I'm going to use it to apply the concealer at the top of my brows. Now, you're going to see that this brush is way more precise and much easier to work with. We'll actually start from the bottom and then went to the top. But it's the smaller the brush, the more precise, but the longer it takes. Now, another feature about this concealer that I like is that it dries down matte. Now, if you made a mistake or if you need to go back in with a brow pomade like what I'm doing now, you can easily apply the product on top of the concealer without it getting messy. Now, a LA Girl concealer or a dewy concealer that doesn't dry down matte, you couldn't easily work with that, because if you go out with the pomade on top of the concealer, it would run and get real messy real quick. Now, because this concealer is so matte and it dries down quickly, you could easily go on top of it and apply the brow pomade on top, and it still gives that nice, clean, smooth, polished finish.
Chucky got the sauce, bitch.
Now I'm gonna go in with a much darker concealer that's in the shade 160, same brand of concealer, and I'm gonna use that to conceal the top of my brows. Now you're gonna follow the same steps. You're gonna start from the middle and bring it downwards. The only difference is for the front of my brows, I used a different brush, the same brush that I used to blend the concealer out. I use that and just drag it towards the front of my eyebrows. Now, here's a little tip while I conceal the top of my brows. It took me a while to get my brows looking like this. It doesn't happen overnight. I learned to do my brows when I started college. When I started college, I didn't know how to do my brows. During college, I realized that no, I had to learn to do this by myself, and it took practice. That's basically what I'm saying. It takes a lot of practice, and you just have to practice until you get it. Try and try until you get it, you know. So I'm not gonna put a lot of concealer at the front of my brows, as you see there. I went to with more concealer right there, and I just made the brows look more defined. As I said, if you think you messed up, you can always go back in with more concealer. Now I'm just gonna blend the concealer at the top, and I'm gonna drag the excess towards the front of my brows. So as you can see, I was feeling myself right there. Like, look at the difference, guys. Like, wow. Before and after. Look at that. Wow. So as you can see, I did my next brow off camera. Now I kind of created a unibrow right there. My reason for this is to get them to look as even as possible. Now yes guys, we are going to get rid of that, and by doing so you're going to just drag the concealer upwards. I'm just gonna show you guys because sometimes it's just a bit hard to explain. So I'm just pressing it, like just dragging it upwards, yeah, just like that. No, because this concealer is so matte, it kind of dries down a bit, so I had to really drag it upwards because it dried down on me. That's the only fault about this concealer, but it eventually came out. I now went in at my spoolie brush and I'm just dragging the product in my brows upwards to get that nice smooth finish. So if you reached this part of the video, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate you guys. Thanks to all those persons who really take the time out to repost my video in their stories or on Twitter, on Instagram. Thank you so much. I'm really grateful for you guys, and yeah, you can get your brows looking just like this or even better. So if you want, you can always go back, pause the video, and just do your thing, because you can do it. You can do it. Thanks for watching this video. Bye. I love you.